Hey guys, and welcome. It has been long known in both the real life and gaming world, the duck is the most powerful creature to ever have existed. Its beauty and its majestic grace has allowed it to conquer pretty much everyone, and soon their human oppressors shall know this fear and their wrath. So today we're going to do a little bit of a warm-up for that, and I'm bringing in the double duck Tzeentch build. Should be some good fun. We're taking on Logic_EU, who's another Total War YouTuber. Make sure to go check him out as well. Up in the skies, we have a Lord of Change, as well as the Mighty Fate. We have Lords of Change have indeed been changed. The fact that their spells are now bound abilities, so you get the one bound blue and pink fire, which is interesting stuff. And the Mighty Fate Weaver is going to be coming in with Pendulum, Regrowth, and Blue Fire himself. Glorious, majestic beasties flying towards the enemy. With a mixture of Forsaken and Blue Horrors making up the majority of our ground force here, but in the back we also have the Blazing Squealers, Regiment of Renowned Exalted Pink Horrors, who are freaking awesome. They can do some really lovely long-range power, and look how happy they are. They're kind of like giddy little jelly beans ready to devour the enemy, kind of a Harry Potter experiment gone wrong. We also have a sneaky Soul Grinder of Tzeentch, who's been launching some shots downrange, trying to take out the enemy spellcaster. Here's an Ice Witch coming in with, it looks like, a load of spells. We have triple spell, so let's just make sure we get all the names of those correct. Of course, we have Heart Winter, which is the main spell from this lore. We also have the Frost Blades, as well as the Ice Maiden Kiss. The main battle line is going to be Armored Corsairs, dotted all the way along, but in the middle, sandwiched between them, is the Half-Blades, Regiment Renowned Tsar Guard, looking to bring the pain to Forsaken where possible. Light Skirmish Cav in the form of Dervishes protects both flanks as well as the rear here, so 4 units of the bad boys. We've got the slightly more squishy Corsair Spears on the flanks, and Streltsy in the center. Streltsy, very powerful unit in general, big fan of them. And in the far back, we have 2 units of Chaos Furies waiting in deep reserve to bomb rush the enemy where possible. So now the battle doth begin. We do some pretty big shots straight onto the Ice Witch coming in. Unfortunately, the Streltsy are lighting up our little duck bouquet on fire. I'm trying to get them in a nice line to drop a juicy Pendulum. Blue Fire comes in, doing some pretty decent damage to the Ice Witch, who's already lost about a third of their HP. A big fat Pendulum comes down the line, taking away half the HP of the Streltsy. Our shield has been ripped from us, though. The Fate Weaver's going to have to pull back to relative safety. The Fury's just waiting for the opportune moment to strike. It looks like a pink fire does come down the line, aiming at the Half-Blades. Not doing the massive amount of damage. We can't overcast it, unfortunately, so struggling to break through their thick armor. Looks like the Corsairs have moved up. I'm going to be pulling back the Forsaken to try and get away from the enemy pressure, and moving in with the Blazing Squealers as well as both the Blue Horrors to focus fire a unit down as quickly as possible. This is a really fantastic tactic for you new players out there, and that is to focus fire specific units, annihilate it, then move on to the next one, rather than doing this kind of spread shot where all our units can survive and still punch back relatively hard. We've got Dervishes moving up around the flanks, which I'm not a big fan of course, because I don't want them hopping into my back line. Fury's getting a little bit eager, going to be bomb diving into the Streltsy, attempting to finish them off. Likewise, we have a Lord of Change, also going to be swooping down. A relatively okay melee combatant can try and hop on the Streltsy and break them, but of course, they have the blood of Kislev runs through their veins, and they're not running anywhere in a hurry. Likewise, Fate Weaver is continuously popping those nasty snipe attempts at the Ice Witch. A sneaky Snow Leopard has been summoned to the battlefield to try to push through that front line. And we are starting to take significant casualties. We were able to catch out the Dervishes on the left. Looks like we have some Winged Lancers who are now going to be getting jumped by the Forsaken as well as Furies. Fantastic opportunity for us. We also pin them in with the Gaze of Fate, so stopping them from retreating from this dangerous situation and learn their melee attack at the same time, which is really lovely stuff for me. Heart Winter did come down. I think it broke off like 2 units of the Blue Horrors that were left in the middle, or maybe just the one here. And now the Leopard is going to be hounding and harassing the Soul Grinder, who's applying a lot of pressure to the Dervishes. Backline is an absolute flustercluck of madness. The Furies are slowly being dragged down here. We still have the Lord of Change bouncing around up to no good, starting trouble in many a Kislev neighborhood. And I'm really trying to snipe this Ice Witch. You can see the Mighty Fate Weaver should be able to fend off the Witch as Blue Horrors rear attack some Corsairs who are unleashing hell with bow fire. We do have a couple of idle units on the flank. Looks like we've got some Winged Lancers and Dervishes waiting on the left-hand side who need to be active and whip up and around to shut down the Pink Horrors. Streltsy are constantly being hounded and harassed by the Lord of Change. I'm certainly starting to run out of troops. Luckily, though, the Furies are getting down and dirty and taking a lot of key targets down. Blazing Squealers are doing just a stand-up job at the moment, trying to focus down troops where possible and support their homies. Looks like the cavalry is now starting to swing in, and I have nothing protecting this flank apart from a beat-up unit of Forsaken. The Blazing Squealers may not be squealing it for too much longer. They're up to 50 kills so far, though. I've been very impressed with them. Only 580 value, but they are now focusing down Armored Corsairs, and should be able to do a pretty decent number on them if I can keep them alive and active, with a Soul Grinder nearby trying to protect them from these pesky dervishes who are being quite evil and trying to hunt down our beautiful beans. The Forsaken are ripping and tearing into the Winged Lancers, dragging them down. They never really recovered from that snare early on. And Fate Weaver's doing a decent job in the back line, coming in with these really nasty pendulums, which have connected pretty damn solid all day long. We've got some lovely ones just arcing down the line, and this unit taking down a half HP off one cast. Blue Horrors and Forsaken getting nice and aggressive, chasing down enemy range units where possible. There's a lot more Kislev forces left on the battlefield than there is Tzeentch, which is a little bit concerning, a little bit worrying for me. Armored Corsairs can move around the flank. It looks like the Half-Blades are moving to engage as well. Pink Horrors are desperately constantly trying to retreat. We do have the Lord of Change dropping down, and they're dropping that duck knowledge on these fools. Doing some lovely little hits there with his staff, flapping his wings and demanding bread for the bread god. And the Kislev forces don't really want to give it up too much. Soul Grinder is going to be popping in once again. The Blades and Squealers continuously attempting to fall back. I just really want to bring their ammunition to bear. We have a decent amount of shots left on the table. Soul Grinder should have enough about him to break off these dervishes. And it looks like the enemy has been pinned in place by the Lord of Change, who's taken significant Overwatch fire, though, from the Armored Corsairs. In the back, it looks like the Blue Horrors doing a decent job chasing down some Corsair spears. And Fate Weaver's doing good work as well. He is going to be coming with a fat pendulum along the line of these spearmen. And with a mixture of Furies and Fate Weaver, I think this back line probably is done for Kislev. And with that, the balance power starts to go in my favor. We've got some Forsaken who are trotting it back to the battlefield. Unfortunately, the Lord of Change is getting absolutely ramrolled by bullets. He is looking like SpongeBob right now. The Armored Corsairs plugging him full of so many holes. They are out of ammunition, which is fantastic news. However, the second unit is not. Allegedly, they're obstructed. I mean, it's a giant duck flying around in front of you. I think it's pretty hard to miss. The Blades and Squealers are once again firing in, though, which is good news for me. We have managed to pop a pin Gaze of Fate on the Armored Corsairs to stop them joining the party, learn their melee attack, allow the Soul Grinder to get a decent hit in, and yet another pendulum favor up to actually kind of underwhelming, it seems, 30 kills. He's done so much HP damage that I feel through the course of the battle. Blades and Squealers are continuing to fire in. I'm really looking for some big, fat, juicy terror routes right now. Awesome animation there. Looks like we popped up 3 shields and then shot them forwards from Fate Weaver, which is pretty cool stuff. And there's loads of little plasma grenades are being launched in as Fate Weaver has an absolute whale of a time. Corsairs are trying their best to drag down the mighty ducklings. It looks like one has fallen, unfortunately. Where one duck falls, another shall rise, and rise Chaos Fate Weaver is certainly doing. Up into the skies, looking to get a bit of cycle charging going. The Tsar Guard are going to be meeting at the Forsaken man-to-man. Unfortunately for them, we're not playing fair. We're Trixie, of course, coming in with those pink horror shots to the flank. And some pretty nice damage. His guys do get a reduction to their armor because of that. And with Fate Weaver popping in, the Forsaken quite comfortably overwhelm them there. The Blades and Squealers are moving into hand-to-hand combat, it seems. Looks like we are out of ammunition here. Soul Grinder's doing a fantastic job just constantly hounding and harassing the Armored Corsairs. With their armor-piercing shots, of course, it may be a bit of a problem for the Soul Grinder, but we're managing to do a decent job down here. In the distance, it looks like Blue Horrors have been used to chase off some just basic troops from Corsairs. A little bit of Overwatch 5 from the Armored Corsairs, but yeah, we should do absolutely fine there. The Blue Horrors wrapping up a lot of the enemy infantry. There are Streltsy on arrival, as well as 2 units which have solid ammunition for the late game here. And it's still on the knife edge. Bounce is certainly in my favour, but I'm feeling a little bit shaky. Luckily, Terror is really going to be a big boon for us here. I do not believe the Kislevs like by our blood. Lovely little passive here, which does give them, if their leadership is wavering low, they become unbreakable. I do not think this saves them from being terror-outed, however, and that's going to be a big boon for us for sure. Soul Grinder's doing decent work, despite the Corsairs just pistol-whipping him, 360 no-scoping him, and he's not having any of that. Decides to jump over here and hack, claw, and rend them into little bitty pieces. He much prefers them in that format, and looks like they are terror-routed, in fact, shattered. Do kind of our big air effect spell. Unfortunately, the majority of the Kislev forces already turn tail and fleeing to save their own skin. Army losses kicks in, and it's only a matter of time before the ultimate plans of Tzeentch come to fruition. They called us crazy. Little did they know we're not crazy. We're simply insane. And that's what allows Tzeentch to get the upper hand on their enemies. The Corsairs will make a brave last stand, but it is not going to be enough. Look at the Soul Grinder pulling an absolute flex there, trying to get all his muscles on display. The assert a bit of dominance as Kislev flee and run to save themselves. Well played to my opponent Logic there. I think he also cast this game a little while ago on his YouTube channel, so if you want to see his point of view or just more casts from him, make sure to go check him out. It is logic_EU, and yeah, type that in YouTube, you will find him quite comfortably. We played a couple of awesome games. This was when the regiment rounds were a little bit new, so we would try them out, and yeah, it was a lot of good fun. So, I think all around the Double Ducks did a solid work. Only 940 on the Lord of Change, but that backline harass is really nice. Just shy of 2,000 value from Fate Weaver. It was a nice spread across the board, and the Blazing Squealers, always a pleasure to have them on the battlefield. 1.4k value on them. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content, and it really helps push the channel forward. And yeah, it makes me very happy. It gives me a little warm feeling, much like you getting some nice bread out the oven type feel. If you guys also would, if you enjoy this type of stuff, there's a load of links in the description to Twitch, Patreon, Discord, all that good stuff. Twitch, I do occasional extra streams, so I've been a bit bare bones on there at the moment. Discord is where you can submit replays to the channel to be cast, get involved in live streams and tournaments and so on. I was going to do a tournament on the day of casting this, although this will be casted a bit in advance. Unfortunately, we have to cancel that one, but we will be back in the future with some of them. And Patreons where you can support the channel financially. A massive shout out to all the Patreons who keep us afloat. Until next time, guys, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.